Oh, is that going to be your legit approach for trying to wake her up? Or are you going to try and acquire a bucket of ice water from the tavern owner? Or...
I
Oh,
will take full responsibility for whatever happens next.
God.
who are we waking up? I missed things because I restarted my computer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Can we proceed
Actually, I
or
don't.
do we wait?
Well, I guess if currently all that we're doing is just you waking up Margaret, that's probably fine.
Uh,
Are you back now?
I'll take all the consequences of this.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, so I wasn't the only one that was gone.
Yeah, everything's a little crazy right now. But yeah, okay. So it sounds like Ulbert is waking up pretty early and easily on his own. How about everybody else? Let's see. Azriel, would you be kind of prompt in waking up in the morning, or?
Yeah, I'd be fine.
Okay. So yeah, I guess y'all would probably meet each other in the hallway or something. Nate, you're still doing like a reboot or something, or are
No,
you
that
there?
already happened.
Oh,
Otherwise, I wouldn't
okay.
be here.
I mean, all right, okay. All right, so how are you also fashionably late about waking up, or is that something you do with any amount of promptness?
No, wake up pretty quick, but then spend like decent amount of time making sure all the stuff is all smooth and hair calm and being like, yeah.
Okay, so you'd wake up and everybody would get to hear you just probably kind of humming to yourself while you're primping yourself up in this shoddy ass hen.
Yep.
Okay.
You're just making yourself a beacon right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so between the two of you who would run into each other in the hallway, is there any kind of interaction going on, or would you just go straight to asking for a bucket of water?
Play rock, paper, scissors. I'll take the liberty of waking her up.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you would go and ask for a bucket of water.
Question: do I keep the bucket?
I mean, he would probably have spare buckets available, so if you wanted to purchase the bucket for future use, you would be able to. It wouldn't be any kind of a huge investment because this is super basic stuff. So,
Okay.
we'll call it like, I guess a silver is probably appropriate for purchasing a bucket of water. So yeah, if you would like to purchase a bucket of water for this endeavor, go right ahead. You can. He will offer you that. He will make that offer to you.
Okay, let me just get a.
10 silver is 1 gold.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Oh, the spell page. Oh, there it is. No. Core. Where's the 10 silver is 1 gold?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, down to 214 and 9 pieces of silver.
Is somebody multitasking?
Yeah. Naterkix says do.
All right, so I'm purchasing a bucket of water. I'm gonna keep that bucket for later.
Okay. All right. So I assume you.
Do we have a limit to how much we can carry?
Technically, it's a really arbitrary amount. Keeping up with it's really awkward. So unless you end up acquiring a very large amount of stuff, I'm not going to go into too much effort to keep up with it. It's just
There's
one
no
more
spell
thing
for like a
keeps track.
pocket dimension and put our shit in it, right?
There's various things that you could do for that. It is actually in my mind to potentially give y'all a bag of holding, so that carrying capacity will be much less of an issue.
Okay.
I don't think I want to do that right this second, but it's entirely possible y'all will get one sometime in the near future. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Hammer space bag.
But yeah, okay, so you acquire a bucket of ice water. He just kind of fills it up. It's a fairly large bucket, like a good 5 gallons or so. He lifts it up, sets it on the counter in front of you, and he's like, I don't know what you're doing with it, but there you go.
Well worth the 10 piece of silver.
Okay, so I'm guessing you're gonna waddle your way up to Margaret's room.
Yep.
I mean, I
Okay.
could try looting her awake.
Don't you dare. This is mine. This is mine.
Also, I'm in the hallway now, I guess.
I'm burning
Okay.
you later.
Alright, okay. Yeah, unless someone wants to impede you on this, then you're going to make it pretty easily to Margaret's room. Some of the other guests may end up seeing you, giving you a strange look, and stepping out of the way.
Is there a roll I can do for any of this or nah? I don't know what kind of...
I don't really see too. It's not that big of an issue. It's just a bucket of water. Any given person is going to be able to carry a bucket of water. If you want,
for what I'm about to do.
well, unless you're doing something more than just turning it over on her head, no.
Okay.
I've got healing hands ready.
Okay.
Not for you, but
He's going to pull some ninjutsu bullshit and start like flipping the fucking bucket without trying to dump the water.
Alright, is healing hands or healing words?
I mean,
healing something.
just carrying a bucket of water and then emptying it onto a person is not going to be anything that's going to require any kind of a roll. So you make it up there, and I assume that
healing word.
So being woken up by wet, cold force, the immediate thing that happens, she reaches out in panic and starts shocking, grasping anything she can touch.
Oh no!
I got healing word ready.
I'm gonna roll for acrobatics.
Well, this would actually just be an attack against your AC, I believe, because it looks like an attack, like a touch attack.
Okay.
Yes, and it has advantage if they have plate armor.
Okay.
Include the spell card. Hold on.
He definitely does not have plate armor on, but okay.
Armor made of metal. I'm sorry.
Oh well. Either way, he's just in clothes, so that's not too big of an issue. Okay, so what's your AC? Your armor class should be towards the top of your character sheet, Higgs. Also, is that a cantrip or?
Yep, cantrip.
Okay.
Attributes and abilities, or?
It's just
on the core tab.
Oh, there it is. Armor class is 11.
Oh,
that's a hit.
It's a hit. Okay.
Okay. Ow.
Okay, you take 2 lightning damage then.
Totally worth it.
Lightning springs from your hand to deliver a shock to a creature you try to touch. So yeah, she like wakes up, just flails her arms and just grabs onto you in her flailing, and you get electrocuted.
Am I down to 14 right now for my 16?
If 16 is your maximum HP, then yes.
What was my maximum? 16, yeah. 14, okay.
Yeah, it's not much, because, I mean, you're a wizard. Even though I gave you a whole bunch of constitution, your hit die is small.
Yep, wizard and sorcerer problems. But yeah, as Margaret comes around and kind of realizes what she's done, she's like, what the fuck is your problem? Jesus Christ!
You wanted us to wake you up, you didn't tell us how.
I hope it was worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it.
And it like shakes her hand, the like residual like tingling in them.
I'd do it again.
You're doing it again? What, you're gonna go like get a new bucket of water, or just dumping what's left of it?
No, I'm just like on the floor, like my face on like off facing the ground.
I mean, I don't think the shock would be that strong. It's just a cantrip here, but.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Good morning, everybody. Okay. All right, everybody's awake. So where are we going from here? Are we doing anything else in the bedroom, or?
Getting a towel.
All right, towels are a bit dirty, but I assume that, given your circumstances, that's not too much of an issue for you. So.
Nope. So yeah, Margaret grabs a towel, attempts to dry herself off while staring daggers.
Okay, and we have what I assume to be a giggling zombie walking out of the room.
That brightened my day.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is everybody else just like waiting downstairs? Like, got a table or on the way out the door, or what are we doing?
I'm already down there waiting.
Okay.
I was just hearing the commotion. I wasn't even in there, so I'll be the first one
Everyone's
to be
like,
like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Once he went on the air, I ran down the stairs, and I'm just standing at the bottom of the stairs, just playing my lute a little bit. Not super loud though.
Okay. Yeah. Under different circumstances, I would ask for a performance check, but the place is basically empty, so there wouldn't really be anybody to
Yeah.
react to it.
Less performance and more just kind of messing. Just I'm bored, so from me, spling, splong, sploong. Those are lute
Even so-
noises.
Yes, they are. Even so, if there was people to entertain with it, even if it was by happenstance, then a performance check might have been something of interest. But yes, it is. Any hoozle. Okay. So yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think you didn't actually respond to Azriel's question there.
Is everyone down here?
Well, I would assume that Albert would be coming down the stairs first while Margaret's drying herself off.
I'm just gonna wait until everyone's here.
Yeah,
Okay.
Margaret can
I'm
head
down.
down after drying herself off.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so what the hell just happened up there?
Nothing.
Shenanigans.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Then why the hell are you smoldering? One, and why does Margaret look like she's still wet?
Because I am.
Nice.
The idea of waking me up involved a bucket of ice water. So yeah, when you're woken up with basically water, cold water, mind you, being dumped on top of you, I did what any normal person would do. I flailed and attempted to kill whatever was doing that to me. I didn't do a good job of it, though, luckily for him.
I'm already dead.
Good thing it wasn't me.
I'm still burning you later.
Need some
All
kind
right.
of anti-fire thing, I think.
The tavern
Now-
keeper doing some cleaning at the counter, just kind of shakes his head at y'all's conversation. Keep that shit in your rooms.
It was.
Well, we did.
Yeah, whatever. All right, let's get the hell out of here.
Yes, sir.
Agreed.
Okay.
Someone else decides to do a shocking touch on someone else.
Okay. All right. So y'all would make your way out into the street. It's fairly empty. Some people are moving about. Most of them seemingly trying to avoid eye contact with most people. In the streets, you would occasionally see somebody, like before going through a door, they might like step like extra close to it and seem like they're doing some kind of interaction very, very close to the door before slipping in while keeping the door open as short as briefly as possible. Let's see. But yeah, people would still be just like moving about on the streets. It would just be very few of them doing so like openly. In terms of like the kinds of points of interest, there would not be a whole lot. Let's see. I think I'm actually going to specifically ask for a history check from Azriel.
You got
Oh God. Okay.
Wow, you've never been here before.
Yeah, unfortunately, despite all the time that you have spent through within the kingdom, this is one city that you didn't really frequent. So pretty much the main thing that you know is just the reputation for being a dangerous city and being so shady. It didn't really seem like a place where you would be able to openly do too much good for people, and the things going on in the city seem to match up with that. So you don't know the streets all that well, and you don't know too many locations. Shit. Okay. Is there anything that y'all that's coming to mind that y'all would want to do while I'm trying to figure out what I can give you?
Find food, breakfast. Let's find a nearest tavern or something, or like.
You just walked out of one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not tavern. A decent place to get some.
not gonna
Well,
find a place like.
Well,
Margaret, if we were all kind of basically just standing there, kind of, shooting the shit, figuring out what to do, would probably suggest, I'm sure they have books here somewhere. Maybe if we can find a library, I can dig up some information. I tend to be good with books.
Oh, right. You actually have a background appropriate for that, right?
Bingo.
And you've been in this city before. Okay. Oh man, I had actually forgotten about that. Okay, let me think about that. Let's see.
Man, imagine.
That is a useful background. I like backgrounds. Backgrounds are cool.
Don't check my background.
Oh. Okay. I actually have a fairly appropriate idea. It's not exactly a library, but it is a source of records. You would be aware of an abandoned guard outpost. When you had passed through before, you did see it, and you may not have gotten a chance to really go through much of the records, but you would have noticed that it existed, and it looked like it had not been abandoned for too long. So, if you were wanting to just lead them straight to that, if everybody's up for that idea, you would be able to bring that up. So yeah, that would be an option that you would recall.
Okay, yeah. If that is the case, then Margaret would have made mention of that and suggested, at the very least, give me a second to peruse around the books. I'm sure I can find something.
All right, I'll go with you, Margaret.
Me too. I don't got anything better to do.
Okay, so everybody's in agreement with that. Okay, in that case, you would move something in that direction, and so this building that spot's a little bit more in the building. So you would make your way over here. I think I am actually going to, for that occasion, ask everybody to make a perception check just as y'all are moving.
Just observe the area around us.
That's
Yeah.
usually the case. Now watch as I pull another 2 out of my ass.
Right.
Okay.
Ooh.
Roll it.
What did I get?
You got 21, dude.
Of
You got a-
course.
Yeah, you got a crit. Okay.
You did get a 2.
In it.
Uh-huh.
2 times 10. Anyway, so Oliver and Azriel, you wouldn't get a solid idea of what it was that y'all had noticed, but you would mostly just kind of have this inkling that, that feeling that something's watching you, basically. That would kind of be what's going on.
Fangirls.
Azriel, for an instant, you thought that you saw up on one of the rooftops a shadow ducking back behind like a rafter or behind like some kind of barricade or something. Just for an instant, it was there, and you're not even sure if it was or not. So that's the thing that's going on. But yeah, so you all get here. It is definitely abandoned, completely and totally. No, the doors actually like busted in. There probably, yeah, there would be signs of some struggle, although any bodies or blood or anything like that, any specifically signs of violence, would be pretty well cleaned up or absent from the scene.
Can I use an investigation check on the scuffle?
Yeah, if you'd like to. In the meantime, I assume that Margaret is going to be finding some papers to rifle through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, couldn't care less about the scuffle though.
Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and do the scuffle first. So far as you can tell, it looks like it was probably just like a quick assault. There would have been like a small number of people even present to resist, and so it probably ended pretty quickly and pretty decisively. Aside from that, there's not too much to draw from it. Doesn't really look like anybody had taken anything specifically. It's, as far as evidence is concerned, you probably would draw the conclusion that the place was attacked for the sake of being attacked.
That is
Okay, let's see. Is there anything in particular that you would want to be looking for in these? Well, actually, I suppose the first thing I'll say is that as far as you can tell, the files look like they are probably like a couple of years old at least. It's been relatively recently abandoned in the sense that it hasn't like completely fallen to ruin. It's just been sitting there pretty much.
Okay.
no.
And you said this was like a guard outpost?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It had been a guard outpost, and so you would be able to find like some amount of criminal records, and some files about like the city's goings-ons and such. So is there anything you'd be looking for in there?
Yeah. Okay, so the first thing would be travelers through this town. If they're not familiar with this town, where do they end up? Because there's probably going to be some police reports involving outsiders, and there's probably going to be more of them based in like a certain or at least a couple of locations.
Okay. The large portion of let's see. I assume you would probably start with most recent. Okay.
Because since we're looking for a person who passed through.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of most recent stuff that you would find, a large portion of it would end up mostly being local stuff, like things going on with people who are frequently like as part of the city. In fact, a lot of it would actually be referring to groups and individuals with like lingo terms, I guess you would say, like things that like implying that whoever's reading the file is familiar with whoever's being referred to. No, I have not come up with names for groups or individuals. I'm blanking at the moment. I'll figure it out. I know. This is the
Medieval KKK.
It's.
Is it do this?
You know what? For the sake of just giving them a name, it's going to be the Mafia because that's basically what it is.
But spelled MAWFA.
Mafia. Yeah. Oh, I can play with that. I'm using that.
Mafia.
It is.
Yes.
No, it is now officially MAWFIA, and I have reason for that, and we'll get into it as we go, probably.
That's a city name and a group name, all thanks to me.
What have you done?
This is officially Nate's town. Anyway, okay, so the mafia had, as far as things going on at the time, the big things going on is they were finally trying to get some kind of a grasp on, on laundering stuff and tax evasion stuff and things like that. They were finally figuring out like which guards were being bribed, as though they were like right on the cusp of finally wrapping up something for once. And probably the very last thing would be that the one thing that we're waiting on to actually make a move is some more manpower. And there's not a report after that in terms of anything more recent.
You don't say.
Bum, bum, bum.
Prior to that would be kind of reverse domino effect on them. There wouldn't be a whole lot in terms of people coming in, going out. Most of the things as far as going in, coming out would be some vague suspicion, very weakly driven suspicions as far as like smuggling and things like that. Most shipments would be things that they would lose track of pretty much as soon as they arrived. Excuse me, stuff like that. Let's see. We'll say about you kind of filter through. It would get to the point where you would become accustomed to the writing style of these reports, such that you could skim through a day or a week pretty quickly. You guys would be spending a pretty good bit of time here for you to rifle through all of this. But in your searching through, about like a month and a half through, you would finally find notice that somebody decided to make a report that the king's gesture had passed through, and so they were trying to keep a protective eye on him. Nothing really exceptional happened in regards to his visit, aside from him making some stops where he did completely escape their vision for an hour or two at a time. There would be an address attached to where they had lost sight of him, although not. It would specify that they did not actually see what door he had gone into or anything. It would just be like a corner where they would have last seen him during that visit. Or rather, during that visit prior to him reappearing at a different point, also listed. And then they would have resumed their protective following. So far as they could tell, nothing actually happened to him during the time where he went invisible. Jester is ghost? Jester is maybe ghost.
Is there a name whoever wrote that report?
Everybody always with the names.
Murphy Mankiewicz.
That's the one. That's exactly the one. It's
Nate, you be quiet.
Yeah, you know what? Murphy's a reasonable enough name. There would be a guard that would be Murphy, and so so far as you can tell, Murphy probably isn't on duty in this town anymore. But most of the reports probably would have been written by him or like one or two other people who probably didn't have quite the same flow, and so those would have been the few times where you would have had to like hiccup a little bit in your skimming through to make sure you didn't miss anything. But yeah, you would now have two addresses that, if you so desired, you could go check into.
Okay. Margaret would go ahead and point that out. Basically everything that was said. And then probably add, as I'm guessing. Okay, so in looking through those reports with those two locations in mind now, was there any sort of like criminal activity or anything else like extraordinary based on any of the other reports that gives those two addresses any significance?
You just came in.
Oh, CJ. Hey, CJ. Um.
Oh.
Uh.
What's up,
Actually,
fellas?
real quick, I do want to be super clear. The date on that would have been like right around 5 years ago, not exactly, but close to that. And the most recent ones would have been about a month and a half after the last sighting of Jester reported in those papers. So that is not the recent occurrence, but it is an occurrence with the Jester, just to make sure timelines are all super, super, super clear.
Okay.
Anyway, you said other crimes going on that made those addresses significant?
Yeah, or any other like reference to those addresses, and basically looking through these reports, anything that would like stand out as being like, oh, that name has been mentioned more than one occasion, or is it just another like list in the stack of lists?
One of those locations would have shown up in another of the reports following that. It would have been exactly once, and it would have been something where they did not have enough detail to actually work with. But they did end up seeing one shady face that they had been following acting in. It would have been the second location, like the Jester's exit location, would have been where they had seen this particular shady person moving about, but they didn't have anything going on specifically. Even though there was crime surrounding it at the time, it wouldn't have been a situation where they could have acted on it directly.
Okay. Margaret would also point that out and then probably say, if we're trying to decide between the two locations, not that I'm saying the King's Gesture was getting into shit, but he was getting into shit. We should probably try this location first, that being the location with the previous bit of history.
Should we not split up? Or should we go?
This is not a safe town. Splitting up is invitation to basically be picked off.
Not a
And
good idea.
I vote we send our bard to go to the one location and the rest of us go to the other.
and
No.
the fact that we are being followed.
Wait, we are?
Yes. I just saw what looked like a shadow over across the rooftop just across from this building. We are definitely being followed.
Cool.
So someone or some group is not liking that we're snooping around.
Awesome. Wonderful. Fantastic.
I promise not to play my loot and give away our location.
I blame the bard.
Fantastic. We cover wars, you know.
The bard. Oh god.
Okay.
Frank West.
For wars, you know. Oh my god. Fuck. Okay. Ugh. Sorry, I'm interrupting and I don't need to be. Y'all go ahead.
Okay.
So it's better, just like Margaret said, we stay in a group.
That's fine.
Yee.
Let's check out this location, but be cautious.
Yes, Daddy.
Whoa, he's your dad? Neat.
Okay. All right, so y'all are getting ready to travel to the second address that I given you, correct?
Not the first address?
The one with some history.
Okay.
All right. Man, this is small, but that's okay. That's okay. I can work with small.
You're welcome.
So she said.
Yeah, she did.
Okay. So, that would end up sending you in this direction, right up to about here. You would recall that I'll put you here to be a little bit more centered in the area.
Oops.
This corner here would be the address that was specified. And you would recall mention that the jester had been seen moving south in when he was spotted here. Also, this is a place where a small number of people would be moving about. Would you do anything immediately upon arriving here?
Margaret would keep her hand on her coin purse, and basically say, "Look, there's people moving around here. If we're being followed, keep an eye out. Shout if something happens, I guess. So at the very least, we all know everybody else is in trouble."
If anything, we might need to split up into 2 groups just around this area. I don't want to go too far.
Okay. So how are we splitting up our group?
I refuse to go with the bard, and I refuse to go with Mr. Icewater.
Oh.
Alright,
Well-
so that makes Azrael and Margaret, and
I promised to behave, so you don't want to burn me.
Alright, because I was about to
that's
make an
still up
arson
to
warning.
debate.
I was still about to make an arson warning.
Houses are pretty close together. You burn me, the whole town might burn down.
I'm willing to make that.
That's
There's-
if this fucking town isn't close enough to collapsing on itself anyway.
True.
Give it another year or so, and this place is going to be nothing but rubble.
Yeah, but doesn't need to be fire also. That's too many things to be at one time. Probably.
Plus, I'd rather not have more dead people on my conscience. Right? There's enough souls going around in this body as is.
Yeah,
I
see?
Can't hold this entire town.
And
Cool.
probably wouldn't want my soul inside of him, because I would bug him constantly, I'm sure.
Kinky.
All right. So y'all are splitting up.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Okay. I
Don't
think then
split the party.
I think probably the thing to do in terms of like representing yourselves for movement would probably be to like pick one token from each group and use that to represent that group, and we'll just set the party token aside for now.
We
So,
can
like,
use
either-
mine for my group.
You are now represented by Oliver Higgs. Congratulations.
Oh, no.
And I guess I'll use mine.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
Oh.
I don't even know where Higgs is.
Can I? Why is? Damn it!
What's wrong?
Every time I try to move my token, the fucking map scrolls down,
That's
and I
That's
don't know what's causing that.
Do you have
that's really
a
weird.
key held down?
No, I don't. I'm just trying to fucking move my token with the mouse.
Okay.
So
Probably don't use
I
sticky
have to
keys
actually
anyway.
like fucking do some hockey shots with the fucking token.
Refresh roll 20. As I said, it does get fucky with movement sometimes, especially.
And reload.
Alright.
Yay!
Somebody playing Monster Hunter?
Yes,
That's
that would be
CJ.
CJ.
Okay.
I thought I heard the little
Where?
missions
Yep.
thing.
That.
That's the one.
How many
Lao
monsters
Shanglun.
are there noticing his presence? I heard that like at least twice.
Well, if he's playing Generations, he may have just changed loading areas and then changed back, maybe? I don't know. Anyway,
Fuck.
okay, so yeah. Before y'all split up, I think I'm gonna call for one more collective perception check.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you can't just
Yeah,
leave
still
it there.
kind of rusty. I haven't played in a while.
12. I didn't get it.
6.
Margaret's
Okay.
probably the only one that saw anything.
Yeah.
I'm probably
Uh,
gonna die.
Okay. With a 16, I'm gonna say to the that's the west. To the west, um, you would probably see what appears to be a slightly baggy sleeve, but it's also like blending in with the corner of the building that it's sticking out from, and it's not sticking out all that much. So maybe not convinced that even anything is even there, but that would probably be the most that you could discern from it.
And I noticed a bird. Look, a bird.
Margaret would then try and like walk out in front of is it Azrael?
Yep.
Yeah. And not say anything, but like in front of her, motion towards that corner, then point to a sleeve, and then say, very softly, "I think I see somebody up there."
Yeah, and it is at ground level.
Okay.
It's a tiny
So,
midget in a trench coat.
Motioning with Margaret. Look at the sleeve and then look up, but I don't see anything.
I'll use a spell. Want me?
I'll explode the entire town block. That'll work.
Yeah, I'll use one spell.
Okay.
There we
Oh,
go.
it's too bad my roll
Oh,
sucked.
wrong one. Wrong spell. Sorry. What the guy? Green. God damn it. There it is.
It is Unseen Servant. Oh.
I could have done
Huh.
magic.
Okay.
Unseen servant.
Okay, let's see. So I'm assuming Margaret is closest to that direction than Azrael, and then the other two are like behind you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They haven't moved yet.
I'm still
Okay.
looking at that bird.
Why are you fixated on the bird? Are you that hungry?
No.
Not
Hold
joining
on.
the party. Fuck off.
Just reading the spell description real quick. Hold on.
Constantly want me to fucking carry them and monster hunter. It's just him in there anyway.
Okay. It would be in the vicinity of 40, 50 feet away from you, so it would take 3 rounds of movement in order to get it over there, if that's what you're wanting to do. But yeah. Anyway, that's your distance from what's going on. Although you only have like a vague idea of what's going on, you don't actually necessarily see the sleeve sticking out. It's a bit away, and you didn't see it yourself initially. So
3 rounds of movement isn't very long, though. That's like what, 20 seconds?
about 20 seconds. Yeah, it's not terribly long. I was just mentioning for the sake of knowledge, basically. So yeah. What would you like to do with your unseen servant?
Send it down to the alley towards the sleeve.
Okay. Let's see. It's completely invisible. Okay, and it's just a force. Okay. All right. So you're sending it towards it. Any other commands that you're wanting to issue to the servant?
Is it incorporeal where it can't touch things, or I can use it to...
It can, because you can, like, even the servant can perform simple tasks such as human tasks that a human servant could do, such as fetching things, cleaning, mending food, folding clothes, lighting fire, serving food, and pouring wine.
I need
So
one
it
of
can't
those.
interact with stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna see if I can get the unseen servant to hold it in.
Just to like move over, find the sleeve, and take a hold of it, basically.
Yeah. That's okay. Or no, let it go through to the opposite end of the alleyway where it's at. For anyone trying to get away. If it is anyone.
Well, okay. I would like to point out that it can't really stop anybody from getting past it in any capacity.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
It has a strength of 2.
Yeah. And
Let's keep it
specifically
sleek,
cannot
like,
attack.
Well,
keep that sleek.
holding something is not really an attack. It could probably like jump in the way to try and knock something, like make something stumble. As
Yeah.
of trying to hold something down, it's going to fail.
Yeah, like it
Maybe
would be
knock
able to
a
like,
rock.
Yeah, like I could see you being able to use it to stand in the way. But yeah. Okay, yeah, I guess move about and stand in the way is a valid instruction that you could give it. It would be, given the distance, it would be basically immediately past the. Hold on, let's see. If you command the servant to perform a task that would move it more than 60 feet away from you, the spell ends. Okay, yeah, so if you move it any further than immediately past where one creature would be in the direction that is in question, then it would be too far for the spell to persist, unless you started moving down that way as well.
Okay.
But yeah, so you can move it immediately past where one individual would be.
That should be fine.
Okay, and just give it the instruction, stand in the way, basically.
That
Okay.
means you have to work with 60 feet.
I'll take
Yeah.
it.
Because if you move as well, you're moving more than 60 feet, which means your servant disappears.
Yeah, well, if he moves away from that direction, then yeah. But if he moves, it sounds like moving toward it is more likely, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know what y'all doing.
Well, I'm just giving that food for thought. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not your servant, it's the general distance.
Yeah.
You have 60 feet to work with, that's what you got.
Yup. Okay. Oh wait, actually, you could have conjured it. Well, whatever. Anyway, we're here. Okay, so yeah, it positions itself such that it would be blocking that alleyway to the best of its ability. And so yeah, what y'all want to do next? Because it appears that nothing has actually changed in that direction as of right now.
Alright, because they haven't noticed the servant. Alright. I guess why don't we just head towards that location?
Toward the mystery sleeve.
Yeah. We'll let the bard go first.
But I'm over here. But I can
I'll
go over
pick
here.
up-
Shit.
I'll pick up the scrap of cloth and then put it in my pack. And then motion down towards the alley.
Okay.
Wait, scrap of cloth? What?
Wasn't it like a...
It was a mystery
scrap-
sleeve.
Well, it's not like a sleeve that's just like stuck on the end of the thing. It's like as if somebody with really baggy sleeves was standing at a corner, then the baggy sleeve would be slightly visible past the corner, is basically what Margaret had seen.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a torn piece of cloth.
Yeah, so it's not like a piece of cloth that's just happened to be there.
You can
No,
see it in the beautiful illustration to the left.
Well, that's a little bit exaggerated for how visible it would be, but the idea's there, I guess.
Fine then.
Alright, so let me change that then. I motion everyone to regroup, and I have my hand on my sword, and then motioning slowly move forward down the alley.
Okay. Since y'all are moving slowly, I'm assuming attempting stealth. So I would like stealth checks.
Gotcha.
Hey, the one thing I'm going to fail.
Don't you have disadvantage on stealth checks too from your armor?
-1.
It's okay. I'm right there with you.
No, I mean...
Oh, hey, 16.
You're wearing chainmail, which I believe gives disadvantage on stealth checks.
Hey.
Let me double check on that real quick. It's that one.
How is our bard the stealthiest thing?
Hey, I can be quiet when I need to.
Oh.
He like drops his loot as he's trying to be.
Plang, plong, pling, pling, plong.
I know
Go.
plate does. I don't know about chainmail.
Okay, because it's a collective stealth, I'm actually going to give that to y'all because you do have a crit success to counteract the 1. So we'll say that somebody became quickly aware of the rattling of your chainmail and just like laid a hand on it to keep it steady while you're moving and kept moving with you. Okay. So y'all would approach that. As you get bit by bit closer and closer, you would eventually hear like some nervous shuffling of feet as they're getting a little antsy. The sleeve seems to shift just a little bit. As y'all are getting closer, the lot of you would notice it and see that it is moving as though somebody's attempting to peek around the corner.
All right.
I wonder if initiative's appropriate here, even though nothing's actually... it's not necessarily a combat situation right this second, but...
Yeah, initiative can still be used in situations like this. It doesn't have to be combat.
Yeah, let's get initiative.
Okay. A group roll?
Everybody roll initiative. And we're gonna see how this plays out.
Okay.
Yay!
How do I roll for initiative?
Just the initiative one on your character sheet. Just
Yep.
click the name, the word.
Yeah, it's like way up at the top.
Oh, here it is. Oh, 11 flame.
Okay. In that case, y'all actually would not react quite quickly enough to act before this individual. You would get the briefest of glances as a face peeks around the corner. Not long enough to really catch any features. If anything that you would gather might be it's somebody young. Then almost immediately after, an oof, as they run into the unseen servant. They would pause for a moment, so you would have an instant to react in that moment.
I quickly rush to tackle the man and keep him to the ground.
Okay.
I could
Play a song.
maybe do sleep on him.
Well, let's see how grappling ends up going first. Let's see. Let's see, grappler.
That would just be in strength, wouldn't it?
Yeah. There are specific rules for grappling. I'm just trying to remember what they are. I think it's. Here we go. Let's see. When you want to grab him to make an attack action with a, you can use the attack action to make a special melee attack at grapple. If you are able to make multiple attacks with the, okay. Turn. Using at least one. Okay. Athletics from you. And it will be contested by athletics or acrobatics here. So yeah. Go ahead and roll athletics.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll tackle him to the ground and probably break his ribs.
Probably not going to break their ribs, but it would be fairly easy to just round the corner and throw your arms around this fairly small individual and pin them down to the ground in a bear hug. Which is probably the quickest and easiest thing to come up with for a way to grapple and pin them.
Quick scope, nigga.
Oh god.
Okay, but yeah, you do succeed in the grapple check. Okay. They are kind of like kicking and flailing and pulling at the grab and stuff. You would, at the very least, for the time being, keep a solid grip on them. Now that you actually have them locked down, you would be able to get a decent look at them. They appear to be a half-elf male. Definitely adult years.
Kill the halfling.
I would say probably like early 30s would be a decent assessment of their age. His age, I should say. I've already assessed it's male. Anyway, but yeah, he's. Ooh, actually, I'm going to make one more roll. Oops.
That's where it all goes downhill.
No, this is actually completely separate from the grapple.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Nope, that doesn't happen. All right. Good for him. All right.
What?
No, it was. Don't worry about it. If you get to it, you get to it. If you don't, you don't. It's fine. Okay. So yeah, he's tugging and let me go.
Why are you trying to follow us?
Follow you? I was trying not to run into you, asshole.
Asshole, you really want to go here right now? I almost just broke your ribs, first of all, and I have 3 other people around the fucking corner. So now, either cooperate, calm down, and talk to me. Why were you sneaking around the corner?
Because I was trying not to run into you, asshole.
Why?
And he just like pointedly looks. Because you don't want to run into people in this city. Have you been here before?
No, I haven't. But I have a party member who knows how this city works.
Then your party member can probably tell you that you don't want to run into people in this city.
I'll run into people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have some questions for you, and you're going to cooperate whether you like it or not.
Drops his forehead on the ground.
And believe me, I can be very convincing.
Persuasion roll?
To be fair, Margaret would say, all you really have to do is squeeze.
Hey.
I start like smirking and cackling.
Oh, God.
Fine, whatever.
Toothpaste too.
What do you want? He just keeps his forehead on the ground.
Concerning the fact that I'm struggling to keep my some strength that I have, just keeping him in the hold, can one of you ask the questions? Motioning towards Margaret.
Yeah, we're gonna let Margaret ask the questions.
Fine, I guess. Whatever. Okay. Kid, you were not just trying to avoid us. The way you... I caught your sleeve out of the corner of my eye. You looked around a corner, saw us, and started running. You've been following us.
He kind of turns his head to look up at you as best he can with this fine young gentleman pinned onto his back.
Hi.
And just and he looks at you. And when you do get a look at his face, he looks relatively weary. He just looks. It's not that he looks like aged and just old and tired or anything. He just looks tired of it. He looks at you. He goes, "Kid, really? How old are you?"
Old enough.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Besides, I'm not the one who is following other people at somebody else's behest. We're trying to find somebody. You're trying to follow us. We need information.
That sounds an awful lot like you're following somebody at someone else's behest.
You're not wrong.
The
Okay.
difference being we're getting paid to follow someone.
And it's a king.
You know, if somebody was actually trying to stalk you down, like kill you or stop you or whatever the hell it is that you are supposing that I would be doing, don't you think they'd be getting paid for it too? It really sounds like you're accusing me of being you.
You know, it's not that hard to crush you like an egg right now.
Oh, I'm sure. Who would even care anyway? Nobody's gonna miss me.
Whoever your boss is, that's for sure.
I would
I'm
put
pretty sure he would.
Oh gosh, I haven't had a boss in probably at least 3 loops. Anyway, no, I wasn't following you. No, I wasn't peeking around the corner to try and attack you. Hi, my name is Sarcasm. What's yours?
I squeeze just a little bit tighter.
Oliver.
Okay. He kind of grunts at the pressure. He's like, a little lower. I need my back popped.
I would put it in his gut.
Margaret's gonna walk over there, grab her quarterstaff, and bring it down on this dude's head.
Okay, give me an attack. Actually, you know what? Roll it again. Advantage. He's prone. Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Bludgeoning? Oh my god.
This is not attempting to kill. This is just attempting to severely hurt.
Yeah. Okay. You bring it down on his temple, and you pretty easily just knock him unconscious. He's certainly not dead. It's just dunk. It's.
You did it.
Well, keep hold of him, she says, as she then leans down and.
Oh, you're a sick bastard. Oh, this is just like okay, no. I just I sent this meme to Dimes. A group of other people for D&D would have like a rogue, a necromancer, and a bunch of other stuff. The lead told the rogue to slit the guy's throat while they were trying to interrogate him because the guy they were interrogating said, "Oh, I'm not afraid of death." They killed him. The lead told the necromancer to res the dead guy. He comes back. It's like, so, are you going to answer our questions? The lead responded. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Yeah, the guy was like, I'll die before I'll die before I tell you anything. He's like, okay, shoot yourself. Takes him back.
Okay.
So I immediately thought of that.
Oh god.
I like it.
This is fun.
Okay.
Are we doing that? We're not doing that. We're not taking someone else's story.
No, but it might give me an idea.
Okay, so you restore 2 hit points to him. He kind of like comes back to after a moment. He's like, ah, ooh, ow. Okay.
So, attempt number 2. Stop with the bullshit. Give us the information that we're at. Answer our questions, and we'll let you go.
Okay. Name a question I haven't answered yet, then.
I mean, to be fair, we didn't really ask a question.
Yeah,
all we were just telling him is to cut the sarcasm.
Yeah, all you really asked me is, why was I following you? I wasn't following you. I don't know what else I can do for you here. You're telling me to cut the bullshit, and I can't really cut out the entire world. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
How bad can cause fear to this guy?
At this point, Margaret would shrug and be like, "Okay, at this point, I have given all of the care. I am out of fucks to give. Do whatever you want. I'm washing my hands of this." And she would basically just like turn around and start walking off.
All right, but don't stray too far.
No, she'd only go around like the next corner.
So, my colleague there, who just stopped giving a fuck, has happened to run into some information about a missing jester that somehow ended up here around 5 years ago. And from the information that we received, he was on his way here from 2-3 weeks ago. So, if you give me the information that I require, I will let you go. Otherwise, I'm going to have my other colleague here, who's pretty fucking dead, light you on fire.
I want to do it. I want to do it.
He's been wanting to for quite a while.
You're gonna be, or you're going to be dealing with eldritch horrors, and believe me, you don't want to see that shit. So, and I motion to Ulbert and Oliver. You might want to get that. You might want to stand more than 15 feet back.
Okay.
Because this shit's gonna get
neat.
I want to collect dead bodies.
A jester, huh?
Yeah, just.
So just some random gesture goes missing. Okay. So what can you tell me about him then? Maybe I've seen him.
Let's say in his early 20s. Very famous to the kingdom here, especially to the king. He's been seen helping a lot of people. Definitely not someone that people go out of their way to try and.
Oh.
And I personally know him too.
Oh, wait. Is he actually in this loop?
Loop?
No, I hadn't seen him.
You just mentioned something about a loop.
Yep.
What do you mean by loop?
You say loop or loot? Like as in what
Loop.
Nate's holding.
With a P. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that has absolutely no significance to you. It doesn't really seem to have any significance to anybody else.
Any information will be helpful.
Okay, but it's not actually got anything to do with you, this jester, anything that's happening right now.
It does just so happen to deal with me.
Oh, really? Can you prove that? Are you sure of that?
Yes, I can.
Then why
The jester is like a son to the king, who's a very good friend of mine, and I personally know the jester. If he gets harmed, I will have your fucking head on a goddamn stick.
Margaret would kind of like, upon hearing that, sort of like wave her stick around the corner again.
Fair enough, I like it. It really doesn't matter. I don't care. If you want to do that now, go right ahead. It absolutely does not make a difference. It really doesn't. And seriously, Next loop, everything changes anyway. None of you will even be here. It really doesn't matter.
What loop? What the hell do you mean?
This kid is creeping me
I
out.
think I know, but I won't say because this is me saying this is Nathan and not Oliver.
I mean, that there's stuff that goes on with me that has absolutely nothing to do with anybody else. Genuinely doesn't affect you.
He's the special.
In any way.
Fine. I completely let go. Get up. Start patting myself from the dirt on the ground. And then I motion to get him, tell him to get the fuck out of here.
No.
He gets up and kind of dusts himself off. Are you wearing your helmet right now?
No.
No? Okay. He kind of looks at you for a second. He pauses, squints, crosses his arms. He has officially completely disregarded your instruction for him to get the hell out of here, but he's just staring at you in deep thought for a minute.
What? Do you like what you see?
Yeah, he does.
I might have at some point.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Maybe. Whatever. See the gesture, tell him Norin says hey. And he just turns around and walks off. Or rather, he walks past you because he was actually genuinely attempting to go towards where y'all had been. So he heads out into the open streets.
Well, I'm canceling my spell then.
Haven't we heard the name Norn somewhere before? Or was that just in the sticky?
No, I believe kid's name was Nora, wasn't it?
I don't know.
The kid in the alley that Higgs used fear on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a...
His name was Norin.
It's a bunch of clones.
Okay, so yeah, he's walking away, and y'all have some moments to yourself, I suppose. Do you still want to split up, explore the area, or is there anything else you want to do?
Margaret, do you have any ideas as I'm slowly trying to cool myself off and, bring myself back down to...
She would take a minute and rub her temples.
Should we ask, is there, does this town have, guards at any of its gates? I'm assuming probably not.
Would just kind of laugh. Yeah. Remember where we found all those books? That was a guard's gate.
Yeah.
Well.
Guards here.
I will say, on your way into the town, you would have at least seen people who appeared to be guards.
Could probably ask them if they saw the gestury guy. So long as Jester isn't
her temples for a moment. We should probably explore the area at least a little bit more. We haven't really actually looked around here yet. We just kind of ran into that kid, halfling person.
Good point.
Actually, do some legwork here. I'm doing it again. I don't care. Do whatever. It's fine.
Sometimes I actually think you do actually give a fuck. You just pretend you don't want.
No. No. No.
Mm-hmm. You say no, but I think you actually sometimes do care.
I have the bucket. Let's try it out.
And then he, let's see, what would Ariel do? Let's go. Let's go back to the guard house.
What about this other? Where he's heading? That one as well. Did we reach the first address anyway?
No, we skipped the first address and went to the second.
Shouldn't we try?
Then we got
well,
sidetracked, didn't we?
Check that. Yeah, we never got.
let's go to the first address. Which is where, Dimes?
Actually, as y'all are coming to that decision, there would be a cutting sound through the air passing in between the lot of you, and it would stick into a wood building right about here. And
is it an arrow?
No, it would be
Dagger.
something akin to a dagger. It does not look like a dagger that would be any amount of useful in melee combat, though. It's very much just a throwing knife, basically. And let's see, how do I? It's this one. Oh, yeah, no snapping. That's what I want. Okay, so if it started, or if it stuck into the wall here, it would be pointing. Can y'all see this arrow?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it would be pointing in that direction.
Sweet.
All right.
Somebody tried to knife us.
Somebody doesn't want us here. That's a threat to leave.
I mean,
let's end the direction where the knife was thrown.
Okay. Well, looks like y'all are all a collective now, so
Yep.
Oops.
Let's get our icons out of here.
Yeah. All right, and so in the direction that the knife would go. Can I give control of this? I don't see an easy way to do that. Okay, so in the direction that the knife had gone would definitely be. Let's see, is it? Yep, it's like that. Yay, half movement. Okay. Yeah, y'all would head over this way. Yeah, you get over here. There would currently not be any signs of anybody. Let's see. Yeah, there would be. As soon as you arrive at that corner, though, another into the
almost hitting Nate.
Into the ladder right here. It's okay. Okay, I apparently can't ping in this state. That's okay. Anyway, another dagger like right here pointing that way. It would also be slightly angled, such as though it had come from above as well. However, even if you look immediately, it would seem as though they had already gone. Would you like to continue following?
I would.
As long as Margaret's not the one leading.
Let's go.
Okay. You would pretty easily be able to climb the ladder, get up on the ledge here. I assume.
There's a snake in my boot.
Let me get you like that. Let's see. There would sorry. Okay. There would be another. I'm gonna move this over here for the sake of drawing. It would stick in about like right here and point that way.
They're not threatening us. Someone's trying to make us follow them. Let's keep going. If anyone has any objections, tell me now.
No.
It would probably be about a 20-foot drop. Do you want to use the ladder or just jump?
Ladder.
Yeah.
Ladder.
Okay.
I can't break anything.
Um,
I like my legs.
It appears most likely that it would have come from this alley heading south. Okay. Yeah, and as you get over, you'd see another one. Swapping between things is kind of annoying, but that's okay. Another one would stick into the corner of this building right here.
Yeah.
And I assume that y'all would continue following.
Yarp. This definitely won't end.
Pretty clearly lead it. Is there anything you would like to do before you go into the alleyway, or?
Detect magic, maybe?
Probably gonna have.
I'm good. Like, I got dark vision, so I can see.
What'd you say, Cody?
Margaret would probably have a spell at the ready.
Okay. Do you have one in mind, or you just want to tell me when? Or what kind of condition would you like to have?
No, I'll just go ahead and tell you the spell. Basically, a firebolt ready, just in case it looks like something actually decides it's going to stop just leading us somewhere and attack us.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, you would get over to this alleyway, and there would let's see.
Can I try detect magic in case there's any shenanigans about?
Yes, you are free to activate detect magic. I think it has a 10-minute duration, if I remember right.
Click the thing. Let's see what it says.
10-minute real time.
Yep. Okay. For the duration, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. Can you use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you learn at School of Magic, if any. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but it is blocked by 1 foot of stone, metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. Okay. All right.
Just in case.
See, 30-foot sphere. Okay. I mean, I don't blame you. The Tech Magic's a great spell to have, in my opinion. All right, so yeah, y'all would get here and standing in front of this right here, in front of a red door, is just a gentleman who just seems to be, honestly, seemingly kind of oblivious to anything of note, significance, or curiosity going on. Just very much a guy who's got a guard duty job, basically.
Real quick, I'd subtract 1 from my
that, but that's okay. What's up?
Spell slots, right?
Yes. Yes, you would.
Okay.
Let's see. Healing Hands is racial, right? And that's once a day. Finish long rest, yeah, once a day. Nothing else of significance has happened, I think. Oh, yeah. Okay, so... Okay. I keep track of everything. Alright. Alright, but yeah, other than this guy who's down here at this doorway, it seems pretty much like an empty alley.
There wouldn't be any reason for someone leading us all the way here, especially with daggers. Someone's leading us to this area.
Oh. We need to do a perception.
You are free to if you would so desire.
I'm gonna do a perception.
Okay.
Probably not gonna notice anything. Yeah.
Okay. In the alleyway, you would just see alleyway kinds of things. Maybe a stray cat here, some rats there.
Ooh, cat.
It does not look like it's a place that is very well traveled at all. Some of the grass is a little bit overgrown. Not to the point that it's going to inhibit your passing through the alleyway in any real way.
Me too, Dimes.
But yeah, the guy at the end seems to be he seems to be an elven male. He's tall and slender, as elves tend to be. He's standing with some amount of confidence and just kind of keep chilling. He's wearing some very light armor, and he's very lightly equipped. As you would approach him, Nate, you would notice very faint auras of magic around just only a couple of his equipments. It seems that there seems to be magic coming from his shirt and a short sword at his side. Not very strong. If you'd like to use your action to try to identify it, there will probably be the opportunity to do so just during conversation.
Okay.
Which I assume that there's going to be conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe there's not. Maybe people are going to murder him. I don't know. But yeah, that's about what's going on in the alleyway. There doesn't seem to be anything that stands out especially. Just a shitty looking alleyway with a guy standing in front of a stone building with a wooden door.
I'll be the first one to walk up to the bouncer.
Okay.
And try to strike conversation.
Okay. Well, as you're approaching, he kind of cocks his head, looks over. You see him perk a brow. He takes just an instant to scan the lot of you, and he's like, "Oh, 4 of you. That's who he meant. All right." He's just kind of steps aside a little bit and grabs the doorknob, pushes the door open. It's a fairly it's a low doorway, so you're probably all going to have to crouch in order to get in. Lights are very dim inside, is pretty much all that you can gather from where you stand right now. But yeah, he's just standing there holding the door open. He doesn't seem to have any problem with inviting all of you in.
Well, thank you, I guess. So, let's go in?
Sure. Like, accepting candy from a stranger?
Margaret shrugs. Why not?
Oh, God.
Why not? Wabu Fett. But yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah, he just kind of stands there. Doesn't really seem to even acknowledge the thank you. He just holds the door open until all of you get inside. Which, from the sound of it, everybody goes in. Alright, so you step through. The stairway actually appears to go down like a couple of stories. After the doorway, there's enough room for you to stand upright. It is a stone hallway heading underground. At the bottom of the hallway, you can see what appears to be a flickering light, a room lit by flames of some kind, be it torches, lanterns, candles, what have you. There's only a little bit of conversation at the bottom of the stairs. Let's see. Yeah. What languages does everybody know, actually?
Don't I have...
Oh, Higgs has a lot of languages. I don't remember what all they are.
I have cursed tongue.
Cursed tongue.
Oh, wait, no,
Oh,
that's not
right.
I think
believe
common
common, elven, celestial,
discovery. No.
and I think I have the ability to talk.
Yes.
No, that's not it. I thought I had a spell for me to use.
Which is just my passive.
Okay. Higgs currently knows Dwarven Uncommon, Primordial, Infernal, Elven, and regular Common.
Hey.
Okay. So wow, I actually didn't give you this language. Okay.
Oh shit. Well then, aren't we in a bind?
Not really. Okay. We got Common and Celestial over there. Nate, what have you got?
I have no idea.
You could look in your character.
He didn't actually write down his languages.
Didn't realize something I needed to do. Probably just the.
Yeah.
Let
My
me
bad.
grab my thing. See what it says.
How do we make it? Why not make it convenient and Nate knows his language?
Because that would be breaking the game.
Okay.
That's fine.
Let's do this. Nate, stop me when I say a language that sounds cool. Elven, Dwarven,
Stop.
Goblin, Draconic,
That one.
Celestial, Draconic.
Yeah.
But I know that one.
Celest. Then
Okay.
the next one also sounded neat.
Oh. Let's see.
Or what is one nobody else has? Go with that.
There's actually multiple people who have Celestial.
Hi.
Wow, really? Everybody except him has Celestial?
They're gonna be speaking insults behind my back in
Excuse me from my
Celestial.
roast.
I just know it.
Welby's fucking speaking to me while Nate's gonna be like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. You could be talking shit about me and I'll never.
Okay, so,
Okay.
but I don't believe
let's
it.
see.
Anybody else has Draconic, and you jumped on that one.
Okay, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'll think you said that. Or did I hear something?
Okay. In that case, Oliver is the only one to actually understand the voices coming from the bottom.
That's
Yay.
draconic.
Yay, so
I know that.
Dimes did the thing.
Why is this in
Or
here?
at least he's the only one to understand. It's very possible that some of you would identify the language, but wouldn't understand what was being said.
Hi, I'm fucking linguistics challenge.
Higgs isn't. He specifically has that feat. Because mostly for a secondary effect on the feat, not the languages. Oh my god, that's a good feat.
Dude,
Anyway.
I love feet.
Feat, okay.
What?
Okay. So, but yeah, as you're coming down, you wouldn't, like, they would just kind of be bouncing between a bunch of statements, but the general idea is basically like they would be talking about like a couple of deals. Some of it's sounding a little dirty. You can't really pin down like the specifics of it, but yeah, stuff. They're just basically making like business discussion for the most part. As you're coming down, any chance of y'all attempting to be stealthy since y'all are apparently being expected anyway?
There's no point.
Yeah.
Yep, no point.
Okay. Yeah. As you get down to like the last few steps, they would apparently hear your footsteps coming down, and so they would kind of stop mid-sentence and shift languages over to common. So
Damn
that
it, we should have just been stealth and then let them continue for a bit. Damn it. Retrospect.
Where do I put that?
bottom left, there's like proficiencies or other proficiencies and languages and tools. Yeah. Yeah, the first thing on the left of it should have like a drop-down menu. One of them is languages, and you can just list your languages in that. Okay. So,
Okay.
but anyway. But yeah, so they would switch over to common as you come into the room. I'll describe the room first. You enter the room. Actually, yeah. Before I describe it, I would like perception checks all around. Because there
Come
are
on, baby, roll a 2.
there's at least one detail that may slip your notice.
Oh my god. 3.
Yeah.
All got 17. Guy, green
All right,
guy,
baby,
Am
roll
I
a
just like
2.
completely? Am I just
Oh,
sitting
wow.
here with my thumb up my ass?
Probably.
Okay.
Taking a page out of my book, Higgs.
It's actually funny that the two of you ended up making those perception checks, but anyway, we'll get to that later.
I play music. I pay attention to stuff. Sometimes.
No, you
Okay, so you make it into the room, and as I said before, it's fairly dimly lit. It's just like there on the opposite side of the room. There's a fairly large desk, just like nice mahogany desk kind of thing.
Mahogany.
Yes.
Fancy.
Looks really sturdy. Looks really nice. And sitting upon it, on each of the corners, is a candle, and those candles are they're fairly large candles, so they burn pretty brightly. But that's pretty much all of the light in the room. Seated at the table is a dragonborn. He's a black scaled dragonborn, and he's just kind of hanging out, sitting comfy. He sees you, and he just like smirks almost lazily at you, and like waves with one hand as you're coming in, gives you a greeting. To either side of him, standing just like a couple of steps behind, are other individuals. There's each of them are elves. They both seem similarly equipped to the gentleman outside. However, Nate, your detect magic that would still be active would be you would notice that the auras coming from those are at least a little bit stronger than what was outside. As it turns out, you actually would not notice any magical auras from the Dragonborn sitting at the desk. Also, now that I've remembered your detect magic, giving you a perception check was almost irrelevant, because you would actually detect another aura from the corner across from the staircase, just directly opposite. Like, if that was the back left corner, then in the back right corner, there's another individual that is blending rather nicely into the shadows, to the point of very near invisibility.
There's a dude there.
Yeah, so you would pick out the auras of a couple of magical items that he's got on him, but Jen, you would actually end up noticing the figure. You would have to kind of blink a couple times and let your eyes adjust before you realize that it was in fact a humanoid and not just some a shadow just sitting there or something. But you would see him. Albert and Margaret would not notice him quite so clearly.
Can I very subtly point him out to them?
If you like. I mean,
like just kind of
yeah, I mean, there's no hostility going on in the room in any capacity whatsoever, and he's just chilling. It's not like he's sitting there waiting to assassinate you. He's just leaning in the corner. So it doesn't look like any... You would probably have the idea that if you were to point him out, then it would be unlikely that counteraction to that would occur. So you would be able to point him out to them if you wanted.
Okay.
Let's
go ahead. There's this guy there too. I see him all glowy.
He kind of tilts his head for a moment and then straightens it and just continues watching. The rest of the room is largely insignificant. There is another door on the opposite side of the room from where you would come in. it almost seems like it's a door to a crawl space rather than a door to a room. It's just like a smaller door, just like, how do I phrase this? It's not flush with the floor. It's like the bottom of the door is about like a foot up from the floor, and it's like a just relatively small square. Anyway, the door's there. It's there. There's absolutely no windows here. Obviously, it's underground. And yeah, so you step in, and so yeah, the Dragonborn just kind of greets you. He's like, "So, y'all are trying to find some information, huh?"
Maybe.
You must be an acquaintance of, let's see here, what was his name? Norin?
Norin? I can't say I've heard of him.
Or god damn it. Elf looked pretty beat up, tattered. Recently had his skull beaten in with a quarterstaff. Around his 30s.
I mean, that could refer to anybody in this town, but I can't say I know anybody that fits that description just off the top of my head.
Well, anyway, we were looking for information on a jester that's been in this town.
Oh. Yeah, he actually did come by and see me. Not terribly long ago. His visits are a little intermittent. But yeah, we try to treat him well. He's good to us. We're good to him.
What does he do when he's with you guys?
Makes people smile. You know, it's what he's good at. He just comes through and he talks to us, tells his jokes, tells his stories. Nobody can ever really get a read on him. 'Cause, I mean, you know, jester, talks in riddles. So.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like him.
Shit, where's my... There it is. I think I have notes. I need to make sure I have notes.
You don't.
How the fuck whatever. That one. Oh, yeah, he just comes through, makes people smile, makes conversation. He's got a habit of getting on that one's nerves, and he seems to look towards the back corner of the room. Of course, that individual doesn't really react, and so if y'all look back that way, he would just kind of stand there. But yeah, has something happened with him? I'm not sure I've gotten too much information of recent events with him. Something's gone on. That'd be interesting to know, to say the least.
He's been missing for 3 weeks. And we've been tasked to find him, dead or alive.
Preferably alive.
3 weeks close to lines up with
Can't I just resurrect him? Oh, I don't even know. What kind of necromancer?
Well, I will say, relatively common knowledge for necromancy in the D&D universe. You do at least need, preferably the whole body, but at least a bare minimum for the higher level resurrection spells, you would need like a belonging of theirs, I believe. Very, 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 very few spells can bring somebody back to life exclusively from a memory or something.
No, but if we do find him dead, is there the point where his body is like mangled and dismembered enough that if I tried to resurrect him, they'll just turn him into a nun?
It would depend on the spell.
Okay.
I think it varies between there is a raised dead where you pretty much just make him a zombie.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a variety of things that you would be able to do to resurrect him as a zombie under your control, and a variety of things that you would be able to use to just bring him back to life. And all of those do fall under the necromancy school, so it really
Which I can also do.
Oh.
well, yeah, and it'll take you longer to get to those levels, but yes. Anyway, but yeah, he does. The Dragonborn is pretty fond in terms of like when he's talking about the jester, and he shares that he had come through. He didn't really stay long, and he did have one very strange thing that he had said. Because they had asked where he was going to next, and the jester's response was, "The furthest from here is the farthest from there, and I need to go all the way there that's halfway to here."
Oh.
None of us have really been able to make any sense of it, but that's what he said. So, I mean, if you're looking for clues, about the best you're going to get, I would think.
Okay. Furthest from there is halfway to.
You want me to type it down?
Yeah.
I can.
From here, furthest from there. Go all the way there. It's halfway.
Well, like I said, talks in riddles.
Yeah, he always has. Wish he could just fucking talk common for once.
I'm sure he would respond to that he's always speaking common. Anyway, I don't suppose there's a lot that we can really offer you from here at this point. But I believe he does actually. He doesn't like to talk about it. It's mostly something I've made as an assumption from partly his habits and something he said exactly once. I don't even remember the exact words, but I think he has family in the South.
At the city or?
Well, I know he doesn't have family here.
Okay.
Nobody's got family here.
South of the city, south of Keurig.
I can't remember. Sten? Or was Sten to the east? I forget my own geography.
What?
I am disappointed.
Thesson, that's it. The second largest city.
Okay.
Anyway, I think that's about all the information that we can offer you. So I suppose the best thing I can tell you from here is get out of my city before you get yourself killed. He just kind of offers you a smile.
Oh, it's his city. Oh shit.
Is that a threat?
Yes. Take it. We're leaving. Bye. Don't instigate anything right now, you Hulk.
Bye, corner guy.
Oh, I didn't even see the BRB. Okay. Well, incidentally, I typed up probably the more important part that you missed there.
Yeah, fair enough. I was still able to listen in too. It was just so.
Yeah, wireless headphones, they're a hell of a thing.
Not even that. I called into Discord with my phone.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay. All right. But yeah, so but yeah, in response to you asking him if that was a threat, he probably would have just maintained his pose, which would basically be elbow on the table, his chin on his fist, and him just smiling patiently at everybody.
I'm not picking a fight here.
Fine, we'll leave. Thank you for the information.
And so yeah, I assume back the way you came.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. It would have been a quick stop in this city. I assume that y'all are, because yeah, it probably would be like early afternoon, like at worst at this point. It would be a relatively similar jaunt to get to Thesson as compared to what it was between Torgrin and Keurig.
Where did we put our horse?
Right at the
It would be wherever the stables were.
Right.
It would have been right around here.
Hopefully someone didn't cook it.
So yeah, would y'all just be going straight to the horses and stuff?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. As y'all are passing the tavern where y'all had stayed the night, you would get probably about here, and the shadowy figure from before would step out, hold out a slip of paper. It would be a semi-colorful slip of paper.
Pretty.
And less like it's trying to be a pretty sheet of paper and more like it's trying to be an attractive advertising sheet of paper. But he just holds that out to whoever's at the front of the group.
Okay. So I grab the paper.
Okay. And then he just turns and basically disappears into the alley.
What is it? What is it? What is it?
When you take a look at it, it appears to be a bit of a meal voucher. It will cover exactly one meal at a place called RPG Luncher.
Nope, I'm keeping it. I'm hoarding this.
But yeah, it's just basically a coupon to what appears to be a restaurant. It is RPG Luncher, not Launcher.
We should go.
So yeah, that was just something that you have all acquired as you were leaving the city.
Hooray.
So, not only do you threaten us, he's nice enough to give us meal vouchers.
Yay.
Such a nice
Criminal
guy.
overlords, I swear. Tells us to get the fuck out of the city, and then he gives us gifts.
Okay. It is 11:40. Would you guys like to continue or call it an evening? Have some closing conversation between yourselves, or what would you like to do at this point? Because I'm good for a few hours still, so whatever y'all want to do.
What is this? Is this a good stopping point? I mean, we just left the city's head honcho.
We didn't. Yeah, we just left the city's head honcho, and is the restaurant, quote unquote, in Keurig, or
No,
is it in Thesson?
It would specify that it's a location in Thesson. Yes. There would be an address with it as well, so you would be able to track it down. But yeah, it is a place that is in Thesson.
Okay, I should have specified that because then.
Yeah. I should have specified that, and I'm sorry. But yeah, so you would, or rather, it would. Actually, no, it wouldn't be a chain thing. It would just be the one thing. But yes, it would be a meal voucher to RPG Luncher for one of their meals, and it would have the address for it at as a location in Thesson. Yes.
Nifty.
Okay. Well, let's grab our horses and start going to Thesson.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hooray, traveling. So that'll be a few hours' time. But yeah, trying to decide if I want stuff to happen on the way or not. I don't kind of want stuff to happen because I want, at the very least, combat to be a thing.
Yeah, and then I get to shoot a crossbow and do nothing.
Yeah.
Magic arrow.
Tell you what, because I'm shit at planning, I think I am going to encourage us to call it a night for now, and I am actually going to figure out a proper combat situation so people can do shit.
Neat.
You mean 3 people can do shit while someone just sits there and fires a crossbow and dings a tree?
There's always one useless person.
Yeah. I stabbed the guy that one time.
Don't fuck with me in melee.
Oh yeah, you're gonna fuck some shit up if anybody ever comes up to hug you.
But
good to know.
Am I useless at anything else?
I'm not gonna lie, I do find it funny that the sorcerer was the first one to properly crack someone's skull.
Not even just that, fucking 3 dead goblins in a fucking row.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Fucking headshot. Monster kill. It's just all downhill from there.
I had fun that session though. I don't know about y'all.
That was actually a lot better than last time.
Oh yeah, it was great.